of lies, maggots turn to flies, whole world's gone to hell. Mama's back in jail, just can't get enough. Think we've had too much. Gunfire in the schools, melt down the golden rule. Where your promise ring, the preacher's got a thing for me. Keep it to yourself, the whole world's gone to hell. A snake will crawl the earth to shed its skin, to make more room for the poison, and the filthy rich will rob you clean until you raise your voices, and the louder one above the rest will call himself a rebel. There's a one you know and there's a one you don't, but they're still both the devil. For the man, spare the rod, hell, use your hands. The hate'll break you down, you're the toughest guy in town. Oh, say, can you see the nearest pharmacy? Yeah, needle to the vein might be the thing that'll kill the pain. Go trade away your soul. You swear the world will never know that you even hear how he whispers in your ear. A snake will crawl the earth to shed its skin, to make more room for the poison, and the filthy rich will rob you clean until you raise your voices, and the louder one above the rest will call himself a rebel. There's the one you know and there's the one you don't, but they're still both the devil. As I lay me down, go on, get behind thee now. A snake will crawl the earth to shed its skin, to make more room for the poison, and the filthy rich will rob you clean until you raise your voices, and the louder one above the rest will call himself a rebel. There's a one you know and there's a one you don't, but they're still both the devil.
Welcome, welcome. Hope you guys can hear me. Could you guys hear that song? Did that play all good? Did my attempt at making a cool introduction work out? That oh, yeah, I'm good here. You guys can hear me okay? That song, yeah, that song is that album is amazing. You guys, if you guys into Steven Wilson Jr., he's my favorite. He's my favorite new artist. I listen to that album with my daughter like constantly. It's just, and that track is just epic. It's absolutely epic. Listen to the lyrics of that song. And the reason I picked that song was because it kind of ties into part of my reasoning for wanting to just get offline for a while. And I listened to that song, The Devil. And I love how he put it in all lower case too, to just kind of like disrespect the devil. I think that was kind of cool. Um, he's an incredible folk kind of country dude. Dude's incredible. Listen to that album. It'll blow your mind. I might take a little intermission. I'm not going to go super long on this one. I'm going to, I'll probably just cut it off on an hour and a half. We'll see. But yeah, that album, Oh, somebody's no. It sounds like you guys heard the song. Yo, John Bush in the house. Um, that album is just incredible. It's mind blowing. The the lyrics, the songwriting, the guitar playing. He plays like a nylon string, kind of beater nylon string, sort of Willie Nelson style. And yeah, dude, there's so many songs on that record. That song, probably my favorite. There's another song called Hometown, which maybe I'll play that one if I take an intermission to take a piss or something. And then there's another track called 1994, Year to Be Alive. It's just the ultimate nostalgia for me because I was born in 79 and so I was a teenager in the 90s. And I think he's probably the same age as me. And that song he's singing about Kurt Cobain and all the, pop paraphernalia of the 90s is just mind blowing. So yeah, folks, thanks for joining me. Um, yeah, and I wanted to just kind of have a stream to just say goodbye for a while and wish you all well and yeah, just share some insights that I've had recently that have really made me firm in the decision of why I want to just step away from the online world. And I don't even have any notes on this. I'm just going to speak from the heart. Um, but a number of years ago, when we really started to get going up here during COVID, I stepped away from social media except YouTube at the time because I just saw the world going crazy and I saw a lot of my friends, or more like acquaintances really, that were just getting woke on all the COVID stuff and it drove me crazy and I just found myself caring what people thought about the whole thing. And at that time, it'll sound as low. Well, thank you for letting me know. Let me jack it up if we need to. Could be you though. Check, check. I mean, where's on my mic here? Input. Oh, wow. Is it ever low? Oh my goodness. Thank you for the heads up, you guys. There, that's probably better, hey? But yeah, so let me start again. So yeah, thanks folks. Thank you for the was the intro track good? Did that sound good? Um so yeah, during COVID, I basically stopped all social media because I was just watching all my friends get retarded, and and I just didn't want to watch. I could bear to watch. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't bear to watch. And so my wife Katie was just like, get off that shit, and she was right. And so I did. And then I kind of came back to it. I went back on Twitter, started a new Twitter account. I never really was on Twitter to begin with. I had like an account for my farm, but didn't really use it that much. But I went on Twitter in, I think it was June 2023. And then I just recently went back on Facebook and new account and new Instagram account. And I feel the same as I did during COVID. I feel that the things that are going on right now are just as insane during COVID, in that there's a massive amount of cognitive dissonance happening amongst the general population of the world. And I generally feel that there's really nothing else for me to say because I've said it all. And so, yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, that's the general thrust of why I want to step back. But more importantly, on a personal level, it's that I haven't fully healed from the passing of Katie. I thought at the beginning of it that I could get through it, because when you go through something like that, when you have to caretake for somebody who's withering away, it's a different type of death experience than if somebody dies in a car accident. One day they're there and the next day they're gone. It's different. And so I thought that I could I thought I could get over it quicker. And I thought, I released that video in May, kind of talking about it and whatnot. And and I wanted to just be strong for my kids because, to just be in constant grieving is difficult. It's hard, right? And I thought at that time, I could just move forward, because when you experience a slow death with somebody, and if you talk to people who have been through that, people often move on very fast. And myself included, I've met another woman and we're in love, and it's really good. But that doesn't mean I'm finished grieving. That doesn't mean that that I've just completely moved on from Katie. I've moved forward, but I haven't fully moved on. That might take many years, but I have moved forward, and that's part of life. But if you talk to people who have been in similar situations to that, they often do move on fast. I had the pleasure of getting to know a couple in Ontario. I teach these law workshops around the country, and I don't promote this stuff on social media because I want the groups to be small. It's all word of mouth for the most part. And we 2 years in a row we've taught a workshop at this market garden in Dundas, and this couple were both widowers, and they had a similar story to mine, actually, and both of their spouses passed of cancer. It was a long, drawn out process, and Jeff, the husband, he moved on just as fast as I did. He met this other woman, Crystal, within a month of her passing, of his wife's passing. And anyways, the two of them came together. They both were widowers of spouses that died of cancer, and so it was pretty inspiring for me to spend time with them and hang out. And Jen, my girlfriend, was there too, and it was really cool. It was really healing, actually. But spending time with them also made me realize that, not that it realized, but more like viscerally feel that the grieving isn't done just because you can move on and be with another person. It's not done. And so I've sort of been feeling that. And I've been doing this 15-step process with a doctor named Paul Leendurst, and he has a very, very cool cancer and just chronic illness healing process, and his thing's called the Root Cause Institute. And to be totally forthcoming with you guys, this is what I was trying to get Katie to do for months, because it's a way of healing that doesn't involve any drugs, and she didn't want drugs. That was part of where we were at, and I don't know if drugs would have been the thing that would have helped her anyways. But Paul does this process of healing trauma, because his hypothesis, and I agree with him now, having gone through this whole thing with Katie for as long as we did, because she had a lot of trauma from her childhood that she didn't heal from, that she didn't, actively try to accept and move on from. And I believe that was the root of her illness, and it's the root of many people's illness. And so I had this, this quite crazy experience where, I'd been trying to get Katie to do Paul's process, and she just wasn't ready. Primarily, well, not that she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. She didn't want to work on the mind. She just thought, okay, I'm going to heal my body through natural processes. We did all kinds of different healing modalities, from strict diets to red light therapy, ozone therapy, all kinds of different types of poultices and herbal remedies. We did ivermectin, and which isn't not natural, but we did ivermectin and fenbizanol. That didn't work. People are like, oh, that's the thing you got to do. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. And I still don't fully know. I wish I could just come out and say, hey, if you want to cure yourself of cancer, this is the way to do it. I don't fully know. I have my beliefs, and I don't know. Take them for what they're worth. I'm not out here to advocate for one thing or the other. I believe some things will work and maybe others will not. But I had this experience where I'd been trying to get my wife to do this 15-step process with Paul. His whole thing is called the Root Cause Institute. And you know, a number of clients of mine that are doctors, a lot of the law work that I do, which is essentially my day job now, is we're doctors. I know a lot of doctors, and that was the thing that was like, in a way, I was blessed. Of course, not in our outcome. That wasn't blessed. Nobody wanted that. But I wanted her to do this process because a lot of friends of mine that are doctors are like, you need to do this 15-step process with Pauline Durst. And so, you know, by the time Katie was ready to, because we were working with this other therapist in New Zealand who did a similar thing, and it was doing some stuff for her, but it was almost a little too late. And so, and that's kind of how it was with getting her to work with Paul, is it was like a little too late. She was in too much pain, and then she had to take drugs for the pain, and then it was like, well, there's no way we're getting through this because she's not even lucid. And so, but I had this crazy experience where I went after Katie passed, and the dust settled a little bit as far as, you know, we had her ceremony of life, and we had, you know, we had like 120 people up at our home here, and had this beautiful day, and you know, the dust settled with some things, you know, like we were feeling like we could move forward. Katie's brother, you know, was just was and still is like a godsend. He's here, you know, he's here almost every day. My buddy Alex Zek invited me to come to Confluence just as a guest. I mean, I was supposed to be a speaker there, and then I canceled because I didn't know what my future was going to hold with where Katie was at. So I canceled months before it started, just so that I didn't leave him hanging. But then, you know, him and I, he helped me a lot during all of this with Katie, and pointed me in the direction of practitioners and things like this, and ever grateful for him for spending that time with me and Katie to try to get, you know, to a better place. And so anyways, I go to Confluence just to hang out and have, you know, have some time with like good friends and just have a break, if you will, because I'd been through a year of just being a caretaker, you know. And so I went down to Confluence, and the first guy I see when I get down there is Paul. And I was like, and he was sitting there with Tom Barnett and a couple other folks that I knew, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go. He's hanging out with my buddy Erasmus, and so I went down and just introduced myself to him, and we totally hit it off, and became friends. And you know, I told him the story of what happened, and you know, just like how much money you spend trying to cure somebody naturally of cancer is insane. Like, I'm not going to tell you the numbers, but it's fucking insane. Because, you know, up here in Canada, I could have just thrown her into the medical system and had it all paid for, and had all the conventional treatments, you know, chemo, radiation, all that shit. She didn't want any of that. Immunotherapy. She didn't want any of that. And so I told Paul my story, and then, you know, at Confluence, he actually invited me up to be part of his talk, because his part of his thing is just like, you know, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to cure cancer with natural things, like quote unquote natural, like basically just non-conventional things. Basically, I guess what I'm referring to is anything outside of the traditional allopathic things: immunotherapy, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, stuff like that. And so, so he invited me to talk a little bit about it. It was a bit emotional. But I kind of just told people, and one day I'll tell this story. I'm going to be on Beth Martin's podcast on Monday. Maybe I'll get into it a bit with her. Cause Beth Martin's is a friend of mine, and she was actually quite helpful during all of that. Like, she was helping me try to problem solve and things, because Katie just didn't want anything conventional. And so we were always kind of like, okay, well, what about this, Kate? What about that? You know? And so, yeah, I became friends with Paul and, told him my story. And, he was convinced that what, um, what transpired was a result of her trauma. And I actually had this bump. I don't know if I told this on the live stream. I was telling this now because all this kind of accumulates to what I'm going to explain about why I want to leave the online world for a while. But it's just like preloading it with the pre-context of everything. And so anyways, when Katie passed, after she passed, and a little bit of the dust had settled after the ceremony of life and whatnot, I had this bump forming in my chest right here, which is now completely gone. But it was sticking out about 3/8 of an inch, and it was like a bump you could see. And I told Paul about that. He was like, "Yeah, that's from what you've been through. That's like induced trauma that's embodying itself in your body, and that's the root of cancer." And I'm not making that claim. That's Paul's hypothesis in a nutshell. Go and listen to his stuff. You can listen to him. He's been on Alex Zech's podcast before. Anyways, I didn't know what his 15-step process, and I'm not going to sit here and go through it because I'm not even fully through it right now. But, and so, but one thing I did that really started to reduce that tumor in my body was fully going through the stages of grief and acceptance through that grief. And acceptance is this big thing that's been a huge theme of mine in the last year, not only in the work that I do with the law, but also just in life and like acceptance of things. Because it's like, if you can't accept, you can't move forward, you can't do anything else. So acceptance is key. Even in the paperwork of the law, it's key. You got to accept, and then you can move forward and then negotiate and get into a conditional acceptance or whatever, right? But it's also this theme in life, and so I started to accept, and then I started to notice this tumor was going away, and then by the time I was down at Confluence hanging out with Paul, it was almost completely gone, and then in July, I think it's like what do I do? Second Saturday of July, I have an annual party up at my place, and we party in the forest, and it's like a sober party. It's for kids and families, and I invite all of my consulting clients and people that I know well up, and we just have live music, and we had Winsome Kind up here again this year, had another musical act, and it's just like a fun get together we do. And Paul came with his lovely wife, and I got to know Paul a bit more. And then he said to me at the party, he was like, you should just do my 15-step process, because there's been a thing that has been, and I'm really being personal here, and this is going to change going forward. This is kind of the last time I'm going to be, when I come back online, it's going to be different. If and when I come back online, my whole approach is going to be different. But I'm being very personal right now and sharing things that I don't need to share, but I'm sharing them because I just want to just be open, and because I shouldn't have done all this. I shouldn't have shared any of this shit with my wife, but I did. And I can't change that. And so I'm just going to, put all cards on the table and just, take it for what it's worth. But, Paul said to me at the party, he was like, you should just do my 15-step process, because my kids and I, since Katie passed, have had this lung issue. It's grief. It's embodied grief. If you look up, traditional Chinese medicine, grief is expressed in the lungs. And so my kids and I have had this, we get this cough. It's not like we don't have a cold. It's not mucus or anything, but we'll get this hack our lungs out cough, comes up once or twice a day. And it's fucking brutal, and we lose our breath. And we have to breathe. And so my father, when he passed during COVID, it was, what when my dad passed, it was 2021, I think. He took the shot and it was insane. I don't want to go on a tangent with all that, but his wife passed 6 months later of lung cancer, and she was not a smoker. So my belief is that it was the grief that just gave her that lung cancer. And so I've basically come to the realization that if I don't fully heal from this now, I might not survive. And I'm I'm the only one for my kids right now. I mean, yes, I've got, Katie's mom and my mom and Katie's brother, who are all very close with us. And so, yes, if I passed, then, they would be in good hands. And I've set up a trust to make sure that whatever happens to me, those guys can come on the land and live here with the kids, and then the land is the kids if I were to pass. But anyway, I've taken this fucking seriously. And so, yeah, when Paul was here, he told me about going through that 15-step process. I realized that I need to take this fucking seriously. I need to fully heal. The fact that I still have this lung thing means that our bodies have not fully healed from the grief. And so, despite the fact that I have a new girlfriend that I'm in love with and we're having a great time, and she's going to come here soon and all of that, but that doesn't matter. Like, you can move forward. People move forward. Like the Bible, I'm not a Christian, but the Bible talks about, how important it is for a man or a woman, if they lose their spouse, to move forward. And so I know that's important. I need that whole family again, and I want to have more children and stuff like that. So I'm blessed with all of that. And I wouldn't have met Jen if I didn't do this ridiculous thing like I did online, to meet a woman and all that. But I did, and it worked. And so, no regrets. But yeah, so that's a big part of, that's like, I don't know, maybe this whole thing gets to split into half of why, that I need to take a break from being online and just, so that's the first part, is to heal, to fully heal, because we haven't fully healed. And so that's number one. Number two is related to that. I basically laid out all the things that I do in my life, kind of lay cards on the table. Okay, I'm a consultant. That's mostly what I do now. I got to be on the homestead. I'm still building shit here. I'm a family guy. I have to make dinner for my kids most nights. I need to put my kids to bed every night. There's a lot of these cards on the table that involve me being a fucking present father, which is the utmost importance to me. And, being on social media is a card. Posting to YouTube is a card. And, I came out in May, and when I thought that I could really just move forward, or move on, and like, yeah, I got through all the grief, and yeah, I'm strong. I need to be strong for my kids. Here we go. And I said, I'm going to be back. I'm going to fucking be back online, doing stuff. And I've realized that's crazy. That's ridiculous. Why? I know I've inspired a lot of people over the years, and I don't take any of that lightly. But I have to prioritize my life so that I can be there for my kids, and that primarily means I have to be alive and well. And I'm getting there. Like I've been in the sauna all morning. Me and the kids had like a 2-hour back and forth sauna session last night between the cold plunge and the sauna. It's incredible. I'm so stoked to finally have this thing, because before Katie and I and the kids moved out here, our house in Kelowna, we had like a natural hot tub, and it was just quality time every day with our children. No screens, no bullshit, just hanging out, talking, philosophizing, expressing love, And we stopped. That stopped because we sold our house in Kelowna, came up here, didn't have those creature comforts. Now we're getting back to them, and so that's a big part of our healing, and will be. But yeah. So basically, when I laid out all those cards on the table, and I'm looking at, posting on X, making YouTube videos and stuff like that, it's just not important for me anymore. And so that was like, I was just, okay, I need to cut things. And there's other things I'm cutting in my life that aren't relevant to you guys, but so that's it. Another thing is, I heard the story. I don't know where it popped up for me not long ago. It was like a little after Katie passed. The story of Rick Moranis, so fucking random, popped up for me. Do you guys know who Rick Moranis is? He's like a Hollywood actor, and he was huge in the 80s because he was the guy who got possessed in the Ghostbusters movie, and then he was the star of that movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. His wife passed too, and he has this story where the guy was at the height of his career. He was like one of the number one actors in Hollywood, and he fucking walked away from all of it to be a present father for his kids. And I heard that and I was like, what a fucking hero. Like, what a man, you know? And I was completely inspired by his story. And that was part of it too for me. Unfortunately for me, I'm not as rich as Rick Moranis, so I can't walk away from everything. But like I said, when I laid out all the cards on the table of what can I walk away with that can save me a good amount of time per week, without costing my life anything, because like I make a pretty good living as a consultant, and it's surpassed what I do online. Like again, all cards on the table. I've done very well online. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I worked my ass off for 10 years, got to a place where, my YouTube channel is still monetized, still makes money. And it's all on the videos I posted before COVID. But they're long tail videos that still generate some income, not even close to what it was. So I have that. Freedom Farmers is still running. That company is it's still doing its thing. It's nothing with that's going to change with me kind of just going offline. That's all going to continue to run as it has been. All the programs and services we do are still going. And so nothing's going to change there. But yeah, I just look at, I was inspired by Rick Moranis' story. Like, what a fucking hero. And I want to be that for my kids, and getting caught up in the he said, she said and bullshit online, especially when you look around, and this ties into, I guess, the third piece of it is just where we're at today, in that like shit's getting dark, and there are dark forces online, and the algorithm is making people become very dark. And you see it in the behavior of a lot of young men online, and it's dark. And I don't want anything to do with it because that's not who I am. I don't have darkness in me. I mean, sure, we all do. We all have a shadow, right? And I'm not fully through that. I have things that I have to work through, and I have to really give credit to Jen, my girlfriend. She's really been working with me on that stuff and revealing those things and letting these things come out, and it's been very healing for myself and the children. And so yeah, she met Katie's mom when we were in Ontario, and that was very special. And I know she was brought to us by Katie, and it's quite beautiful and amazing. And so there's still a lot of healing to do in that, and that's what we're going to be doing. And when I look at the online world and I just look at the fucking trolling and just the hatred and the division of people, and I just go like, what else is there to say? Like, it's so painfully obvious. You got guys like Peter Thiel, who is looking more and more like a demon, doing a lecture series on the Antichrist. It's like, what the fuck? How much? And he is completely baked into the algorithm, especially with X. Like, X has. I was excited to get on X when I got back onto social media in a way in 2013. I had a really good time writing stuff, but when I look at the things that I write, because I love writing, and I think another book is in the works for me for sure. And I think this downtime from online is going to help me reflect on what that is exactly, because I have a number of ideas, and I love writing and communicating, and I love speaking too. So I'm going to continue public speaking. I've got a number of public speaking things lined up. I'll be back down at Anarcopoco in Mexico in February. I'll be at the Reclaim event in Calgary in a couple weeks. I've got stuff going on, you know. But yeah, when I just look at, it's just the internet is pulling people into this dark, is pulling people into this toilet bowl of what do you call it? Exponential. I've used this metaphor before, how you have you can have both sides of, say, like negativity pulling you into this downward spiral. You're kind of going like that, but you can flip that by an upward trajectory, an upward spiral of these sort of negative externalities that can be negative externalities of, we talked about this with permaculture too, and design systems. Like Dakota Cohen and I have riffed on this for years. But it also exists in your mind and your spirit and your body. And so I'm just witnessing the online world just turning into a fucking garbage dump. And I think, and I guess part of the reason why I wanted to like come out and say that I'm doing this, because like I could just go dark and not say anything, right? I could have done that. But I had already come out in so many different ways publicly with the things that happened in my personal life that I felt, well, I might as well just like wrap it up with a bow on top and say, this is the whole reason why I want to do this. And maybe it'll inspire other people to do the same. But maybe perhaps some of you can have more of a balance with it than I have, because I've struggled with the balance of being a public person and being a private person. And it hasn't been the greatest balance for me. It's like I just got caught up in bullshit that is completely unnecessary. And I feel like when I factor in, you know, getting my health back, getting completely through the trauma that we'd been through, my kids and I, with the passing of their mom and my wife, that I was going to put it all together. It's like, this is one of the best decisions I could make for myself and my kids, is to just get away from the bullshit. And the way it looks to me is the algorithm is incentivizing people to become more and more demonic. And you can see that in many content creators today. I'm not going to sit here and talk shit. It's irrelevant. But you can just see that the online world is becoming a garbage dump, because like my buddy Jesse Elder, who's also been very prominent in influencing me in a positive way. I have to give a shout out to him, because the guy's just a real bro. You know, sometimes you meet another guy that's just like you just totally align with. Me and him were like that. We met down in Confluence. Alex Zach's dad, Derek, actually introduced us, and I didn't know anything about the guy. We just immediately aligned. It was just like a stars align kind of thing. And him and I would talk on the phone all the time and just like riff and have these like super powerful, inspiring calls. And he said this thing to me, and he posted it online too, not too long ago, that the quote is, AI is going to be so much better at being fake than you, which is just so fucking true and so profound, in that you can see the bots out there. They're actually, not only is the AI and the algorithm incentivizing certain online behavior, one or the other, because like for me in my writing, I noticed very quickly with X, if I posted something negative that was, say, like just talking shit about all the immigrants coming into the country, which I still feel just as passionate about. It's like one of three main issues that I'm seeing, and I'll probably riff on that a little bit too in this stream. But then I would try to write something inspiring, because that's really more who I am. It's like I'd rather just inspire people and lift people up. It just goes nowhere. Like, it just gets no algorithmic favor. It's just like, so I can see clearly, it's the same on YouTube. because I've been a creator on YouTube for 11 years. Like I started on YouTube actually. I think it was like just before, it was 20 end of 2020, no end of 2013. Call it New Year of 2014. So I've been on there for 11 years plus. I've seen and felt the algorithm, and it's like negativity and bullshit is what sells. He said, she said, garbage. And that's just not who I am. So it's like, this fucking sucks, because the algorithm has got these bots out there that are controlling people. I'm witnessing this right now. Bots are literally in your comments, especially on X. Like X is insane. And they're just like getting you to like, go, fight, hate. And they're literally controlling people. You can see it. And I just don't want any part of it. It's just like, what else is there left to say? The world, the establishment is completely at war against humanity right now. And it's a multifaceted fifth generation warfare, where not only do they want to incentivize you and inspire you negatively to get into a civil war, they want you to hate on as many people as possible. They want you to be a complete degenerate. They want you to basically do everything that goes against God's will, in my opinion. That's why, like, when I look at where I live, which is surrounded by God's creation, nature, all I hear up here is just wind. I don't hear any other noises. But then I get online and it's like the noise of fucking loser trolls who just like, just want to do that. It's just like, it's so fucking lame. It's so gay. And I just can't stand it. Because it's so not who I am in any way. But having said that, those things can bring out the shadow in you. And I've seen that in myself, and I just don't want anything to do with it. And so, I've been sitting here for years now talking about three things, really. And lots of things too, actually. But there's three things that I think are the biggest issues right now that are going to face humanity. And if we as people who want to transcend all this evil around us, if we don't really acknowledge these three things and do something about them, we're in trouble. And I don't have all the answers to what these three things are. But one thing I am doing as I exit online is I'm getting involved in the local politics in my area here. And maybe when I come back online at some point, I'll have something to say about that. But I've already started having meetings and getting and connecting with people in my area as to how we can change the local politics here to put something in place to do something about this. And I'm not going to riff on those solutions yet. I'm kind of going back to the drawing board and looking at how I can be effective in my local community, then using these international platforms to change that, because they won't right now. I think I can be more effective in my community just with my voice and my organizational skills and my ability to make things happen. And I don't need the internet backing me for that, because I'm effective when I meet people and get to know people in my community. I'm effective. I've got to know a lot of people here in my community, and I know a lot of hubs, and I know a lot of people who are connected, and that's kind of where I'm putting my energy right now. But so these three things are AI, and in necessarily no particular order, but they're the three things that are the most detrimental to humanity right now that I can observe, that I think we have a chance to do something about. So AI is one of them, and again, no particular order. The next, I'd actually say, let's start from the top, inflation. So inflation, the governments have printed so much money that they have made it so that the average human who lives in the Western world is seeing diminishing living standards, unless you're rich, we're all like, I'm seeing diminishing living standards because everything's expensive. Like I've had to completely slow down my construction up here, which thankfully I'm almost finished. So I guess I'm in a way through the gates, but you know, all my friends in this area, it's not the same. My kids' friends, not the same. So inflation, it's affecting all of us. If we don't start to do something about that, we're in big trouble. Inflation is causing immigration because the reason they need to pump these countries full of immigrants, third world immigrants in this country in particular, it's East Indians, is because they'll accept a lower standard of living than we will, because the shithole that they just came from is far worse than the shithole that they're walking into. It's that simple. And that sounds terrible to say that, but it's just true. You know, if you're living on the streets of Mumbai, India, and you're picking through, you know, dead bodies and you're roasting rats and things like that to just get by day in and day out, that's horrible. And so I don't blame those people for wanting to come here. It's just unfortunate for all of us that those people come here and they'll literally work for their second cousin who just bought a gas station with the Sikh temple, which is, you know, these people are collectivized, and they're superior. Their organization is superior to ours as, like, you know, white Western Canadians, because they organize themselves by their race and culture, which is smart. The fact that we're not doing this is why we're getting fucked, is because we're not collectivized. It's part of it. It's not the only reason, but it's part of it. And so they are completely out competing us economically because they're using their collective culture to, you know, organize themselves to buy businesses instead of trying to buy like a fancy house in the suburbs, which is what we've been suckered into thinking is the Canadian or American dream. They're buying businesses and then they're collectivizing resources and they're crushing. And since Trudeau got into power in Canada, he created sort of this carte blanche immigration program that has these multiple tiers to it where they can bring in their second cousins. And so one of them gets in and then they're bringing in them all one at a time. And then they start a gas station and they're literally bringing in their second cousins and they're working for free. So the cousin who's here and stationed in Canada, and they might have been born and raised here, but they can get free labor because they can bring in their immigrant cousins. They do all the paperwork and they literally just do a backdoor deal, a handshake deal. And I don't know if they shake hands or not, probably not, but because they just screw each other over. This is part of their culture. It's a screw each other over culture. And that's why they're crushing us. Not to say that we should be doing that. We shouldn't be, but that's what they're doing. And these immigrants come in and literally will work for free on the farm, the gas station, the Dairy Queen, the A&W, the Tim Hortons, you name it. And the other cousins just take all their wages and put them up in like a shithole apartment with 10 other guys sleeping on a mattress. That's a better gig than when you were living in India. So you can't blame them for coming here and knowing that's a better gig. Problem for us whiteys is that now our teenage sons and daughters can't get jobs, starter jobs, because it used to be in the 90s, you'd go to the Dairy Queen or the A&Ws or all those places, and it was all white teenagers working at those places. And that was your starting job, which was great. It was a great place to start. But now it's all East Indians working there. And so now you talk to white families in any of these areas across Canada, especially Southern Ontario, where it's the worst. White Canadians, teenagers, cannot get jobs because East Indians run all of those places and they're nepotistic, so they hire their own, right? So all of us whiteys for the last 50 years have been saying, we like meritocracy. We're going to hire the best person for the best job. And then the East Indian guys sitting there going, I'm going to hire more of my people. I'm going to hire more of my people. And then they get more and more into the board, even to the board of directors. And then lo and behold, whitey can't get a job anywhere. And then lo and behold, further from that, these guys are so established in the economy that they're now running the trucking companies. They're now doing road construction. They're now doing home construction. They're in the trades, you name it. So slowly and incrementally, this country is getting taken over. Meanwhile, so we had inflation that sets off in immigration because the banking elite need new immigrants because they've been telling whitey like you, or not even, it's not necessarily about being white. It's just born in this country, or at least here long enough to share the values of what we had. With all that stuff, so this immigration just continues because it's all a gravy train for the bankers, because they want Whitey to not have kids because Whitey wants a higher quality of living. Whereas bring in Brownie from the third world, and Brownie will accept second world conditions because he came from third world conditions. So Canada's got a long ways to go until it gets to second world, but it's getting there. Go to Southern Ontario, go to Brampton, you'll see. Meanwhile, on the background, AI is quietly taking over everything online. And it's creating an environment that's going to have the ultimate silo. So as Whitey can't get a job, young Whitey, guy in his 20s, who should be working in trades or building skills to crush, have a family, so on and so forth. Whitey's online fucking going and doing this. That's what young Whitey man is doing today. He's wasting his time in a perpetual hamster wheel, accomplishing fuck all. But then the entire world around him is changing through inflation and immigration. And so it's this endless spiral where young white men now are feeling hopeless. And if you go to a lot of the homeless places, like my hometown of Kelowna, BC, which used to be, the place, it was just white, suburban, everybody had a business, everybody did well. There was little to no homelessness there at all. There's a tent city in Kelowna on a road called Clement. It's predominantly white men on the streets. And then you go to the downtown, and the majority of businesses are run by East Indians. Not only that, the patrons are East Indians. So where's this white privilege that we were promised? It's nowhere to be found, because that was just a propaganda campaign to get Whitey to lay down his sword, essentially, which is what has happened is the white man has been completely cucked, and instead of like building a business and providing for his family, he's online fucking screaming about nothing and following losers and doing nothing with his time. He's trolling. That's what Whitey's doing right now. And so that is where we're at. And I don't know what else to say about it anymore. More in just that I know that I need to change my life. And if I don't take care of my health and my family, I might have the same fate as my wife. And then what do my kids have? They won't have me. But I've been screaming about this online for years. And I know people are listening. And I appreciate every one of you who does. But what I would implore you to do is take fucking action now. And the time to argue about it online, honestly, I don't think it's going to move the needle, because I think what's happening right now is AI is going to silo everybody. And that's why X has become the place where, for better or worse, like you can go on X and it is hands down, it's at least the best of the mainstream platforms as far as free speech is concerned, but it's just a giant honeypot operation, because you can go and listen to real conversations about questioning major narratives in regards to Israel and the centers of power and World War II and things like that, and get like, holy shit, like you can get the red pill better than you could have ever before on YouTube. Like you talk about World War II and a lot of the big questions that people have with that on YouTube, forget about it. You get labeled an anti-Semite, it's over. But right now on X, you can have these conversations. And why is that? Because just a couple years ago, Elon, who bought X, went to Jerusalem, put on a little hat, touched the wall. And so did Trump. And so that's what's going on. That's what's going on. This is just a big fucking honeypot. just a big honeypot to get you into it, and they're going to silo you because they're going to replace you with AI, which is probably already happened in many ways. You're gonna see content creators that you thought were really based, and then all of a sudden, but you won't even notice it. They'll be like 10% off, and you won't even notice it, because what they're going to do is they're going to replace each and every one of us with an AI. This is, you get into the dead internet theory. Go look that up. Dead internet theory. Yeah, I'm going to speak more about these silos. So what they're doing, this is straight out of Black Mirror. Watch the first season of Black Mirror. That show is so prophetic that they predicted this. Is that you think you're online, you got 100,000 followers, I'm fucking big dogs, big swinging dick, I got all this influence, I'm making a difference. I'm watching the algorithm, I'm getting all the likes, I'm getting all the views, I'm making a difference. And what they're doing to you is they're getting all these bots into your followers. So people who have big followings are getting influenced by their followers, because they'll see that their followers will direct them in an algorithmic way. And they'll be like, look at this. Hey, you guys want me to do this? You guys want me to do that? Yeah. They're just fucking bots. And they're getting the content creator to go in a certain direction, which is, in my opinion, to mostly just focus on hatred and division. Because that's not what brings people together, right? That's the antithesis. And that's where the New World Order's hands are all over it, is because what looks like the New World Order, smells like the New World Order, is most likely the New World Order. And they want you to focus on hatred and division. And so, because you're not organizing and making shit happen like that. And so they're getting in there, they're influencing you, they're moving you into this silo, and then eventually they're going to have the content creator themselves be replaced with a replica of an AI that you can't even tell the difference. So they'll take content creator X, replace their followers, incentivize them in this hatred, negative direction, and then keep them there. And then now that content creator is completely siloed. They're online, they're doing whatever, and nobody's hearing them except AI. Meanwhile, they've replaced you with an AI replicant that you can't even tell the difference. They're streaming, they're making videos, you name it. The AI video, look at what Google VO3 is doing. And that's consumer grade. Like the real tech that's being used in these major platforms is 10 years ahead. Like this, I could be a fucking AI right now and you wouldn't even notice. And so my hope is that you'll realize that I'm not, because I'm just being completely real and being vulnerable and speaking from the heart and telling you that if you're spending time hating and doing bullshit, you're fucking losing. They've got you. And so hopefully my words can transcend that to some degree. And that by me stepping away, this will be an action that you'll realize, well, why would he, if he was an AI, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? So anyways, but that's what's happening, is that we're all being replaced by AI and you won't even know. And there's like, I think it's episode 2 or 3 in Black Mirror where there's this, it's like in this visceral way where there's all these people living in these sort of mirror looking cubes, and they're just in there and they only exist online. So in the physical world, they're literally in a prison cell. But then online, they've all got all these followers and they're just an avatar in this thing. This is what's happening. And this is how they're going to steer any form of revolution. Revolution is bullshit. Evolution, perhaps, is a better term. How they're going to take an evolution into a revolution, because a revolution is just this. It's the revolution. Yes, it's a revolution. Oh yeah, the Beatles. Yeah, we talking about revolution. Yeah, the establishment love revolution, because then that's just when they play musical chairs and then they sort it back out and they put the same old boss, new boss, same as the old boss, same old hoodwink, bait and switch. That's what they want you doing, is a big fucking revolution. And so that's where they got you. And they're going to, it's the same old scam. And this is where, that's why they want everybody online. And X is doing that because it's seemingly the perfect place to express yourself and talk about the JQ and all that stuff. And there's lots of good people out there having this conversation. I'm not here to smear Like the Jewish question, all that stuff, it's all good. Question that stuff. I don't think it's the ultimate be end all of everything of the power structure. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. It's deeper than all of that. But people are having those conversations, and I like those conversations. I was on, I've been on JQ Radio many times on X, and I like those guys, and I was on with them a couple days ago, and I thanked them for just being I had a place to go when I was going through hell at home. When my wife would have a couple hours of quiet, I could go and just riff with some guys, and so anyways, there's good conversations happening out there, but don't get so baked into it that that's your only community. If your only community is online, you're right where they want you. If all you're doing is like following content creators and you're just one of these guys doing this and this, don't be a loser. Don't be a fucking loser. Don't be a follower. Get out there and make shit happen. And there's such deep reasons why men, especially white men, have been so psyoped. Is just like nobody's healed from their daddy issues or mommy issues, and then they gravitate towards these creators. And I met a lot of these young men and wanted to help these young men, and it's been a big part of my calling. And I think now I'm just realizing that calling for me, I can localize that calling and be more of a voice and more of an effective leader in a local way. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Hey, Daniel, thanks for the super chat, brother. Can't wait to see what you get done in your next chapter. How can we get a hold of you? You got to follow me on Telegram. And then I do share my consulting email on Telegram. But Daniel, I think you've emailed me in the past, so I think you have my email, but that would be the best way for you to stay in touch with me. So, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. So I'm going to take a pee break, and then we'll come back and we'll read some super chats. And I haven't looked at the chat at all, but I'm going to take a pee break, and I'm going to play another song from Steven Wilson Jr. And I'm going to play this song called Hometown. And you guys can listen to this song. It's an amazing song. It's 3.5 minutes long. I'm going to take a little pee break. You guys can enjoy this song. And I'm just going to move things around a bit so that I can do that. Let's make sure that I can do this all properly. And I'll take a little pee break, and we'll come back in a second here. Okay, folks, so I'll play a little song, and I'll take a pee, and we'll be back shortly.
How'd I end up here where I don't belong? Like a steel guitar in a disco song. I've been going nowhere since I've been gone. How'd I end up here where I don't belong? I wanna be home in my own hometown. Yeah, back where my roots ran wild in the barefoot stomping ground. Yeah, I wanna wake up to some of that cooking, know my way around without looking home. In my own hometown, I'm always gonna be hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown. These black dirt boots just don't fit in. Yeah, the air is thick and they smile too thin. There ain't no wildflowers blowing here in the wind. These black dirt boots just don't fit in. I wanna be home in my own hometown. Yeah, back where my roots ran wild in the barefoot stomping ground. Yeah, I wanna wake up to some of that cooking, know my way around without looking home in my own hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown. Yeah, there's a graveyard there where my granddaddy is, and a speed of life that I sure do miss, and that high school crush that I never did kiss. I wanna be home in my own hometown. I wanna be home in my own hometown. Yeah, back when my roots ran wild in the barefoot stomping ground. Yeah, I wanna wake up to some of that cooking, know my way around without looking home in my own hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown. I'm always gonna be hometown.
Isn't that a beautiful song? Like, did you guys listen to the lyrics of that song? Like, just fucking beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. I hope that played. You guys could hear that? Yeah. Did you guys hear that? Was that all good? Um, I'm not the best on the tech with these streaming and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So, yeah, somebody's like, did Curtis just lose his wife? No, my friend. My wife passed in March. Um, but yeah, I hear that song. I just get teary-eyed. It's just and it just makes me feel again like he's got two songs on that album that are just so relevant to where we are today. That song I played in the intro, "The Devil," just speaks to all the shit that people are being pulled into that's so demonic and so degenerate and just wants you on hating and dividing, and it's so fucking obvious. But then that song, you listen to that song, and you're just like, hometown, man. I want to be in my hometown, back where my roots. It's just like, it just makes me, yeah. It speaks to your heart, and that's where I want to be, man. I'm tired of this. I don't care about being a fucking public guy. Like I've I love the people that I've met in my journey doing this, no question. But like I'm just done. Like I just want to be in my hometown. I want to be with my family. I want to just be in my gardens, and I don't care about the algorithm. I don't care about the views. I don't care about any of this shit anymore. And so, but I do care about good folks. But, if you guys really want to ever meet me, there's ways to do that. I get around, I'm doing stuff. If you guys want to, and I'll go read super chats here shortly. You guys want to follow me, going forward, the only place I'm going to post, and I'm not going to be actively posting, but the only place I'm going to be kind of sharing where I'm at, what I'm going to be doing, where you can, like, if you want to meet me or check me out somewhere, it's going to be on my Telegram channel. And so you might not be on Telegram, and then I'm sorry. Then I don't share my email address on YouTube. It's too much. And that's one thing I actually want to say too, is I wanted to do that. I again, me just being just real and honest and vulnerable. But I planned on doing this workshop here on my homestead, and we put together a plan and all this, and put it out there. And I got to tell you, we had so many people apply that it was overwhelming for me. And we had this process, because I can't have just anybody coming on my property. Like, this is my home, and my kids are here. And we had so many people apply that it was overwhelming for me to go through all of the applications. And I just started to realize, fuck, I can't do this. It's too much. It's too much. And so I am going to, what I will say is that if you signed up for that workshop and you're on, and we accepted you, I will email you. I will do this workshop, but I'm not going to put it out to the public at all. It will only be for people that are, say, my consulting clients, word of mouth, or people that we accepted. I will reach out to you, and we're going to delay it. We'll do it in like next summer. It was too much, too quick. It was too much for me to go through all these applications. It's too much. And again, it was just like this realization that I just have to focus on my healing and my family, and moving forward with my girlfriend Jen, and having space in my heart and in my time to do those things. And so, and I do want to do them because I love teaching people in person. That's the thing that I still really, really enjoy. And, I do these law workshops. I've been around Canada the last couple of years, and I love it. And I do small groups. I only do 20 people at a time. And I announce all that stuff on Telegram. So if you want to know more about that, you just got to follow me on Telegram. I'll make sure that I put that link in the chat, because I don't put that shit on YouTube. It's too real for this stuff. And so when I teach people law, it's I only do 20 people at a time. It involves a number of different processes, legal processes that I've done over the years that have worked for me. And I show people that stuff, but you'll never see this stuff online. I don't let people take photos of my letters. I only do it intimate, and I get to know every single person that I teach, and that's how I want it. And so I guess you could say, and I've actually been talking about this stuff for a long time, and that one day I'm just going to go dark. I've been saying this actually for years. If you've listened to my streams for years, I've said this for a long time, that one day I'll just be gone. And that's kind of where it's at now, though I'm not saying I'm never going to come back. I'm not deleting my accounts. I'm not deleting X or Facebook or any of that. I'm just going to fucking not engage with it. I've deleted it off my phone. And I need time to heal and just be a family guy, just be a guy, just be a normal guy. And that's been kind of happening for me for a while. It's been kind of a transition, because there was a time in my kind of career online, as you could say, where I would go places and people would recognize me. And I love that it's not that way anymore. I love it. Because I just I've been kind of out of the limelight. YouTube, ever since COVID, just kind of shadow banned me. Though my channel's still monetized. So they haven't really fully shadow banned me. They just kind of algorithmically tweaked me, so I just don't get huge views anymore. It's kind of been a blessing in a way. Yeah, it certainly hasn't helped my bottom line as an online creator. I'll tell you that straight up. But at the same time, it's made me realize what's important in my life. And I guess I had to live through this horrible trauma of being a caretaker for my wife for a full year, and then and then, you know, going through the 2-week hospital period and all that, to like, you know, get this perspective that I don't know if I would have had any other way, you know? And so, yeah, that's kind of where it's at. So, let's look at some of your guys's stuff. What do you guys got to say? So here, let me just, I'll make sure that I put my, I'm just going to make sure that my Telegram channel, because that's going to be the only way, that's the only, unless you're a consulting client of mine, you're on my lists, which I share things, with, you know, you'll know when I do a workshop or stuff like that. But I'm not actively, oh here, I'll put my Telegram. Stay up to date with Curtis. This will be in the show notes of this video on YouTube. Here. So you got to be on Telegram. And so I like Telegram. It's a cool app. I use it for a lot of texting because I don't have cell service up here, so you know, I can just connect to the internet and voice message people and stuff like that. It's what I've been using. So that's now in the Telegram, in the YouTube show notes. But let's read some of your guys's yeah, let's we got some super chats here. And yeah, I'm gonna shut this down in 20 minutes. So I'll do some super chats, and then yeah, I'm gonna say goodbye. And I've been going in the sauna. Man, I got this new sauna. I'll tell you, fucking amazing. Had a young German, 29-year-old German guy come and build it. Just crushed. Finnish style cedar. Got room for like 4 people can lay down in there, which is sweet. But you could like seat 10 people in there. Got this wicked wood stove, outside loading, 400 pounds of rocks on it. My brother-in-law is in there right now. And I was in the sauna 2 hours last night with the kids, and they loved it. And I got the cold plunge tub next to it. So that's a big part of our healing journey, is going to be doing that, just spending quality time together as a family, you know? And so, yeah, let's go back and see. Let's look at what we got for super chats here. I don't have time to read everybody's chats, unfortunately. My channel, $5 catching up. Small dono. Okay, thanks for that. I don't know what that means, but thank you for your support. Yeah, somebody says Kelowna's becoming, but they wanted a 50-minute city. Absolutely. Rolo Vaughn says pretty much nailed it. Western world all over. That's, yeah, when I was riffing on about the 3 things, inflation, immigration, and AI, the 3 things that are going to change your life the most, inadvertently or outwardly. People like Steven Wilson Jr. Listen to that guy, man. That guy's calling it, man. That, as a musician right now, that guy's got it. Amazing. Daniel Akuma, Uncle Curtis, we fucking love you, brother. Can't wait to see what you get done in your next chapter. How can we get a hold of you? Workshops. Yeah, so Telegram, and then I'm pretty sure you have my email though, Daniel, so you can just reach out. Matt Kubas, $10. Thanks, Curtis. Appreciate all your wisdom and experience you've shared. I'm planning to sail to Anarchapulco. Boom. And even more excited now knowing you'll be there. Much love. Yeah, bro. Love Anarchapulco. Love those guys. Jeff Berwick's a bro. Jeff Berwick, man, I'm gonna give Jeff some props, as well as Ed Bugos. Those guys really, really tried to help me when I was going through hell with my wife, and I'm ever grateful for them. People find reasons to hate on people and disagree with. This is another thing that I hate about just the online world is, oh, you think this, therefore you're a fucking this and that and the other. Oh, you didn't come around to this idea or this way of thinking until now. It's who fucking cares? What is the overall thrust of an individual? What does their work do? How are they in their real life? And these guys, you know, people have been talking shit about Jeff Berwick forever, and I hear it. But I'll tell you, in my life, Jeff Berwick's a fucking solid dude, and he really tried to help me when shit was going south for my wife, and I'll never fucking forget that. And I'm always be grateful for him and his business partner Ed Bugos for doing their best to help me. And I'll tell you too, other guys, Alex Zek, Andrew Kaufman, Beth Martins, Amanda Vollmer, these people really, really put a lot of effort out to try to help us. And was, you know, it didn't work out in the end, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm grateful for those individuals for trying to help. You know, they really cared. And so to me, that's the ultimate sign of character, is like somebody who fucking steps up and does something. So I'm grateful for those guys and girls. Beth Martins too. I'm going to be on her podcast on Monday. And so she was there trying to help me a lot too. So, and those would be people you hear about. You know, a lot of my friends that are doctors you might not have ever heard about, like Rachel Morris. Oh, she's kind of out there. She's out there. She was a huge help. Svetlana Rilkov was actually just on Stu Peters' show. She too was a real angel and just, you know, did her best to try to help us. So, yeah. So what else? Yeah, stay in touch with me on Telegram. That's the only place I'm going to be sharing stuff over the next little while. Because the thing is, like, for me with social media and YouTube and all that, like, I just haven't found the balance. I know there's other people have been able to find that balance in their life, and that's great. They can kind of like post once and not look at it. It just hasn't been me, and so it's just not. I haven't found that balance, and so I think I need time away, and then maybe I'll find that balance, and then I'll be able to come back and, you know, be more balanced with it. So I don't know. We'll see. You know, people, asking me about consulting. So the things that I consult on that, you know, how I make a living, mostly it's my law consulting. That's mostly what I do now. My farming consulting in a way has been kind of streamlined into Freedom Farmers through our Homestead Accelerator, because I built that program to find people property. Because I used to have people would come to me and I would do one-on-one sessions with them, and I still do, but it's probably like 5% of the consulting I do. It's like pretty inconsequential. Most of my consulting is through Canadian law. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a conspiracy theorist who read a lot of law. And that's it. Those are my qualifications. I have no. I'm just a conspiracy theorist who started reading the law 10 years ago. But you can reach out to me if you're on Telegram. I share my consulting email on there, and so if you follow me on my Telegram channel, you can find me there, and then just reach out. And yeah, I do these, I call them law and equity workshops that I do around the country. I got one coming up in Kelowna, October 4th and 5th. And so, yeah, you can just reach out to me to find me on Telegram, and then kind of go from there. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up in 5 minutes. So I'll just kind of read the last little bit of your guys's. Did something go down? Huh? Seems to be. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. Something go down? What happened here? Okay. Rogue Spear says, Curtis, why not start a private chat group? I would even pay for that. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. But to be honest, brother, I just don't want to fucking manage that stuff. It's just not where I'm at right now. I find too I just find the whole online chat thing to just be not constructive. Many years, like I had one on my Telegram channel. I had a private group for there, but the problem with these online groups is they always get taken over by a minority that just want to be on there, and I just find they're never that constructive. It's like literally, it's the same. Hey, maybe there's some anomalies out there. I could be wrong, but every time I've seen Bonnie Blue, am I pulling the plug on the Freedom Farmers courses? No, nothing is changing with Freedom Farmers whatsoever. It's all the same. Nothing is changing with Freedom Farmers. That's all going to continue. I'm just talking about me on social media and YouTube. I'm taking a break. I've just found with these online groups, it always gets taken over by people who just want to be there the most. And so you get this minority of people who become the lion's share. It's a Pareto principle. There's a minority of people who are the majority of comments. And then the group becomes unproductive because it's the unproductive people who are the ones commenting, because the people who are productive are out doing shit and they don't have time to post. And so I don't like online communities for that reason. And that's another reason why I've realized that I would way rather just be a leader in my immediate community. I don't need to, I have enough skills and enough with just this of who I am as a person. I don't need to drag in, hey, look at my YouTube channel. Hey, look at I'm confident enough in my ability as a man to just walk into a room of people who don't even know me and win people over with my skills and my charisma and my ability to communicate. And so I would rather go back down to zero and just do that. I mean, people know who I am too, so I can't help the fact that, that's going to drag into my, persona and in some degree. But I just find that my bro Jesse Elder just says, AI is going to be so much better at being fake than you. So the time to be real is now, because AI is just going to dominate the world of fake. And so everything online is going to be fake and gay. And that's why we have to do the opposite of what the devil wants us to do, is get back into the real world, get back into God's creation, get back into nature, get back in the soil, get back into the real water, drink real water, get back into nature. And so that's just where I'm coming from. And again, but for the most part, when I started this stream, and if you came in late, you can go back, and this is mostly just about my health and my children. That's mostly what this is about. And the other parts of just not wanting to just be part of the fucking hatred and division that's going on online, because they're just going to silo you. And you're going to be out there and you thinking you're making a difference, is you're not doing fuck all. Even if you have hundreds of thousands of followers, you're just fucking stroking the algorithm, because it just wants you in a hamster wheel of hate and division. It doesn't care what political side you're on anymore. It just wants you doing this. And so I just feel like there's nothing else left to say. I've said it all before. I've been saying it in these streams for years. And so I hope that people will join me and just get in the real world. If you want to meet me, come and meet me. I'll be at Acapulco. I'll probably be back at Confluence. I'll be in Calgary in a couple weeks at the Reclaim conference. I'm around. I'm easy to find. I'm a real guy. I'm a real guy. You can come and shake my hand and give me a big hug. I'm not some big fucking ego that needs to have this hierarchy of followers. I don't need that shit. I don't want that shit. I'm just a real guy. just hang out, be a normal guy. And that's always who I've been. And, you know, the ego is a struggle when you start to do this stuff. And, you know, 600 whatever thousand followers on YouTube, it means nothing to me. I don't give a shit about any of it. I just care about my family, my community, and trying to make a difference in the world, in the real world. Because the online world is about to just completely be irrelevant, because it's going to be completely controlled, if not already, by the algorithms that just want to turn you into the worst version of yourself. And that's just where I'm just like, I'm done. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. I really appreciate all of you guys for your support over the years. And yeah, you know, Freedom Farmers is rolling on. Don't worry about any of that. That's all there. Courses are all good. Everything that we offer is there. Yeah. So come meet me in the real world. I'm around. I'm going to things. I'm more interested in just doing things in the real world now than ever. Consulting, public speaking. I want to be around real people. And I want to know you're real, because I can see nice comments and stuff, but I don't really know you're real until I meet you. And I want to meet you. And you can meet me. We can hang out. We can bullshit. All right, folks, that's going to be it. Thank you. And I don't know when I'll be back, but follow me on Telegram, and when I'm ready to come back and be in the online world again, perhaps as a different way, a different approach. I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know if I even want to do it, but yeah, my stuff will stay up. You know, you can follow me on all these platforms. And maybe before I finish this, I'll put that in. You can follow me and all that. Like, I'm not deleting my stuff. I'm just checking out for a while. And so hopefully the AI doesn't just replace me, and then all of a sudden I'm live streaming and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? So we'll see. All right, folks, much love. And I wish all of you the best. And I hope we all can come together in the real world at some point soon, and we don't get sucked into this beast system that seems to be rolling out right in front of our faces. All right, folks,